everyone, my name is Dina. Today I'm going to show you a video on how to make my bracelet portion of my Paradise Treasures set. So the set does include earrings, as well as a necklace and a pendant, and then the bracelet that we're doing today. So if you need any supplies, that list of those supplies is down below. So click on that link, gather up those supplies, as well as another bead on it board. Meet me back, and I will show you the first step. So for our first step, we're actually going to start off with our cup button today. I am doing the cup button with the pink and purple version only because I don't have any more of the little cabochon infinity clasps. So this is what I used for the green version, so I just put one of the cabochons that you'll see also in the necklace portion, in the pendant of the necklace. Put one of the cabochons in the infinity clasp, glued it on there, and then that's what I ended up using for the clasp for the green and gold one. But I only had just the one, so I wanted to put it with that one, and then this one I'm using one of the cup buttons. Now the fun thing about the cup button is that when you're said and done with the whole bracelet, I would not do it right now because it's going to be very hard to use if you do it right now. But when you're said and done with the bracelet, you can take another one of your cabochons and actually glue it into the cup button, where the flat part is sitting on top of the cup button. And then if I had glue in there right now and it would stay, it would look something similar to that. So that is an option, just depending on what you want to do. Today I'm just going to do just a typical cup button. I'm not going to do anything special with it. So to start off, I'm going to put an 8/0 on my thread, and I just have a comfortable length of thread because you're going to have to add some thread with this bracelet. And I'm going to use that as a stop bead, so I'm going to go back through that one more time. I'm only going to go through it once because we are going to use this in the product. Now I'm going to pick up 3 11s. I'm going to go through the underside of my cup button, going towards the upper side, or the cup portion of it. Then I'm just going to decorate the center. And I think I'm going to do just a 15, 11, 8, 11, and 15. I use that combination quite a bit in the different earring and bracelet and necklace portion. So 15s you really can't see very well because they're kind of underneath everything, but it still works. So now we're on the bottom part, so we need 3 more 11s, and then we're going to circle through that 8/0 that's down there. Now just like with any other clasp, you're going to want to go through this at least one more time. So I'm going up the 11/0s, and sorry I can't see, hopefully I didn't get my head in the way. And then the cup button, and then we're going to go through the 5 beads that we added here in the center, and then back down the cup button and the other 3 beads, other 3 11/0s sitting there. And then I'm going to go back through the 8/0, and now we're set up to start our bracelet. So I'll show you the first section, and then we'll move on, and I'll let you get caught up, and we'll move on to the next. So this next part, we're going to square stitch on just one 11/0. So coming out of the left hand side of the 8/0, add an 11, and then go back through the right hand towards the left of the 8/0. And then square stitching means you have to go back through the 11/0 that's sitting, that you just added. And then now you have that square stitched on. Now we're going to do a double right angle weave. So pick up 4 more 11/0s. We're going to round through, so go from the left to the right of that current 11/0 that's sitting there. Then we're going to go up through that first 11/0, add another 11/0, go through the next 11/0 in line. Then that has that 11/0 kind of stick out in a point. Add another one, do it again, and do it a 3rd time on the left side. So on the top and on the left. And then once you get those 3 extra beads on there, then we'll have our double right angle weave stitch that looks like a diamond, just like that. So now let's move our thread through that stitch to the topmost point bead that we just added. Just like that. That's where you need to be coming out. And that will get you set up and started for the next step. So go ahead and complete that, and I'll show you the next one. Okay, so once you're caught up with that, then you should have something that looks like this. So now we're going to start our little components, and each one of these is done the same way. And then we'll go down to the other end, and then we'll add our seed bead loop to go around our cut button. So to start off, we're coming out of that peak bead up here, the topmost bead. We're going to add 2 15s, a RounDuo, and 2 15s. Doesn't matter which hole that you're going through with the RounDuo right now. Just make sure all your holes are open on your RounDuos. Then we're going to round out through this topmost bead, go from the right to the left. And then, when you situate your beads, your RounDuo should sit on top of your double right angle weave section. So now we're going to need to get to that other hole of the RounDuo. So to do that, go through the 2 15s on the left, continue through the RounDuo, through that hole that we've already used, add 2 more 15s, and then we're going to jump down to the hole down on the bottom. And then eventually we'll come back through and we'll connect all of those beads, that 11-0 and then all of these 15s as well, so it won't be hanging out so funny looking. So on this part, we're going to add 4 more RounDuos as well as 4 of our 8-0s. So an 8-0 goes in between each RounDuo, so we already have 1, so we need to pick up 3 more RounDuos and 4 of our 8-0s. So just alternate those. You start with an 8-0 and then you need to end with an 8-0. So that way, when you pull it down, you have that. So we're going to make this into a raw unit by going back through the RounDuo that we're already going through to begin with. So now we're going to continue through that first 8-0, through that RounDuo, and into the second 8-0. And on your second one, you're going to add a decoration of your bicone. So the bicone is going to sit in the center just like that. So as I'm sitting right now, I'm coming out of the right side of that current 8-0. I have my bicone on my needle and thread. I'm going to go to the 8-0 that's on the opposite side of the unit, and I'm going to go from the right to the left. And that should get your 8-0 or your bicone to sit in the center. Then I'm going to go back through the bicone and then go through the top 8-0 from the left to the right, like that. So basically you have your thread going through your bicone twice, and it's wrapping around those 8-0s. Now continue to round the RounDuos and the 8-0s and get yourself back to the start down here on the bottom. So now you're set up for your next step, and it helps to kind of tighten everything up too. So get caught up with that, and I'll show you the next step. So when you're caught up, you should have something similar to this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add some beads on either side of these RounDuos, and then that way, after that, we're going to connect them all and then move on to the next section. So you should be coming out of the inner hole of the current RounDuo. I have put 2 15s on my thread. I'm coming out the inner hole. I'm going to go through the outer hole of that RounDuo, just like that. and that will put the 2 beads on the side. So go ahead and go through those 2 15s that you have on that side. Go through the inner hole of that RounDuo one more time. The 8/0 to move to the next one, and then coming out through the inner hole of the RounDuo on the left. So now we're going to add our beads on this one. So we're going to pick up 2 15s. We're going to go through that top hole. Now we're going to pick up 2 15s. Oh no, wait, this is the side one. The side ones are 5 15s. 4 and 5. So you got 5 15s. Now we're going to wrap these 5 15s around the top. So just go in the same direction as your thread is going in now. And then that puts the 5 15s on the top. Now for the side of the RounDuo, we're going to do 2 more 15s again. And then go through that inner hole. Just like that. Continue through the 8/0 that's sitting there and the next RounDuo. Now the 2 RounDuos that are sitting opposite of each other are going to look similar to each other. So the one down here has the 11/0 attached to it, and then the one on the sides are not going to have any 11/0s, they're just going to have 15/0s. So for this one we're going to add the 2 15s on the side, go from the inner hole to the outer. To go along the top, we're going to add 2 15s, an 11, and 2 15s. Oops, that one's bouncing around. And then go back through that upper hole again, or that outer hole. And then for the side, 2 more 15s, and then go down the inner hole. If you catch on to the 8, that's fine, because you need to get to the outer, or the next one, and then do the same thing that you did on the RounDuo that is on the left, where you add the 2 seed beads, go through the outer hole, then you add 5 seed beads, and then circle through it, and then add 2 more seed beads. So I will meet you back once you get that part done and caught up. So when you're caught up, it should look something similar to this. My thread is currently coming out of the inner hole of that last one, or the one that's on the right hand side of the RounDuos. What we're going to do now is we're going to connect the 15s together with some 11/0s. So go ahead and go through the 2 15s that are on the side of this RounDuo, plus the 5 that are on the top of this RounDuo, and continue through the 2 15s that are on the other side of this duo. Once you're there, pick up an 11, and then go through all the beads around that are surrounding the next RounDuo. And that's all this section is, or this part of the step. So once you get through all of these beads, and you add your 11s in between all the 15s, then you need to get yourself back up to the topmost 11/0 up here again, so we can do another one of our double right angle weaves. So this is all you do, is you just add an 11/0 in between the RounDuos that have the 15s, and then just go through all the 15s. And when you're done with that, meet me up at the topmost 11/0 up here, so we can do our next double right angle weave and start the next section. So when you're caught up, you should look something similar to this. So we're going to do the double right angle weave again really quick. So we're going to add 4 beads to our thread. We're going to round out through the 11/0 that we're coming out of. Go through that first one, this time that's on the left hand side. Pick up an 11/0, go through the next one. Do the same thing with the other 2. So you're adding 3 beads along the edge, and then get yourself oriented to where you're coming out of that topmost bead. And if you go through all the beads, that's fine. You can go through just the original 4 beads. That's fine too. Just get yourself up there. Trying to go through all the beads at the same time. So you're set up for the next step. Now this step is going to be very similar to the other one, but if you recognize, we're actually coming out of the right hand side of this bead rather than the left hand side like we were down here. So everything is going to be flip-flopped a little bit. So I'll start it off so that way you know what I'm talking about. So we're going to pick up 2 15s, a RounDuo, and 2 more 15s. And we're going to circle through that 11-0 that's there. Continue through the 2 15s that are now on the right hand side, because that's the side that we're going through. Unless you're left-handed, then you're going through the other side probably. Go through your RounDuo. Add 2 more 15s so you can jump down to the other hole. And now you're set up to add your other RounDuos. So again, it's 3 more RounDuos with 8-0s, with 4 8-0s. You start with an 8-0 and you end with an 8-0. And just alternate until you get those on your needle. It'll look like that. Then round through that inner hole of that RounDuo. Now, like I said on the first one, we're going to go through that second 8-0 and add our, Bicone. So continue through the first 8-0, the RounDuo, go through the second 8-0, and then this is where we add our Bicone. So this one is now coming out of, I'm going to hold it like this, out of the left-hand side of this 8-0. Put the Bicone on your needle, go through the left-hand side of the opposite 8-0, going from the left to the right. That should sit it in the center. Continue through the Bicone again, and then go through the original 8-0 from the right to the left this time. Like that. And then this gets your Bicone now to sit in this diagonal fashion, where this one is sitting like this. So we got this one going this way, and then this one is going this way. So it will alternate all the way down your bracelet. Other than that, the rest of this is the exact process as we did on the first one. So if you need to rewind, get yourself to the length of the bracelet that you would like, then meet me back and I'll show you how to do the loop for our clasp. So when you're done with the length of the bracelet that you like, then you need to end with a double right angle weave. Now if it ends up being a little too long, then you can always just cut this portion out and then just square stitch on one of your 8-0s, so that way we can make our loop for a cut button. Just depends on your preference and what you want to do. So for the loop for the cut button, I've already started it because I had to test it out and wanted to make sure it worked before I did anything. So I'm going to do a basically an increase decrease, like I had said that I'd done several times on the other projects as well. So what I had started off with was an 11-0, and then I did my increase decrease. So I did a 15, 11, 8, 11, 15 combination, and then I did that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And then I ended up with another 11-0 at the end. And that's so that combination or that pattern still keeps on when you go through that 8-0. So what you always want to do, if you decide to do a different combination of those beads, put your beads on your thread and needle first, go through your center bead, whatever you choose to put in the center. Then you take your cut button and you test it. And if it feels like it's just a little too tight, but it still goes through just fine, just kind of like how mine was going just then you're probably going to be just fine. Because we're going to put at least one more strand of thread through this loop, if not 2 strands, just depending on what you want to do. So, always want to double test it out before you tie off your thread, because sometimes it can be a little too small and you'll have to take your loop out and start over again, basically. So this is the way that I typically do it. Go through once, test it that way, go through a second time, and before I tie off, I'm going to test it again. So after I go through it one more time, I'm going to test and make sure that the button will still go through the loop. Seems to be just fine. So now I'm going to go back into the right angle weave, and this is the same thing that I did down at the other end also. I've already tied off my thread down here, but I just went back through to the right angle weave and went through from the bottom to the top through the center of that weave, that raw unit, and then went through the loop that I created with the thread and then pulled tight. Move on to the second bead, or the next bead in line, and then go through the next bead in line. So I went through 2 beads, and then I did the same thing again. I went through the center of the double right angle weave, pull it down close to the product, go through that loop that you just created, and pull tight, and then now you have your knot. Then I went down through these last 2 beads of this unit, and continued through this bead, and then the first 2 15s that are on the left side of this RounDuo, and then went through the RounDuo, making sure the thread exits in the back of the bracelet, or what you want to consider to be the back of the bracelet. And that's where I burned it down, and then burn it down close to the product. And now your bracelet is complete. Thank you so much for watching my tutorial on the bracelet portion of the Paradise Treasures set. Again, this is a set, so everything that is in the necklace, the earrings, and the bracelet are all the same beads. So if you need any of those supplies, don't forget to go down to the list down below, click on some of those links that'll take you to PotomacBeads' website, so that way you can purchase whatever you need. So don't forget to like and subscribe as well, and we'd love to see some pictures in the Facebook page for PotomacBeads, so that way we can see the different colorways that you choose to do. So get ready for the next video, because I know it's going to be a good one.